On May 27, 2023, President Bola Tinubu announced that the fuel subsidy in Nigeria had been removed. The consequences of this policy have been significant. Over 3 episodes of the HumAngle Index, we will break down the basics of the policy, the consequent cost of living crisis, and the accountability system for fund allocations. In this episode, we will be looking at the basics. First, let's understand what the fuel subsidy means. In simple terms, a subsidy is a financial support provided by the government to reduce the cost of essential commodities for its citizens. The fuel subsidy specifically bridges the gap between the production cost of fuel and the retail price. For instance, if a gallon of petrol costs 500 naira and the government subsidizes 300 naira, Nigerians can purchase a gallon for 200 naira. However, when the subsidy is removed, citizens are required to buy fuel at the production cost of 500 naira. But these figures are just to depict a scenario. In Nigeria, the subsidized cost of fuel was 187 naira. When the new government removed the fuel subsidy, the cost of fuel skyrocketed to 617 naira. The removal of fuel subsidy has had a ripple effect on the cost of living. When the price of fuel increased, the cost of transportation, food, and other amenities all increased. There have been varied opinions and reactions to the subsidy removal. Many Nigerians are unhappy and are complaining bitterly about the removal and the effects of it. Others believe removing the fuel subsidy is for the good of the nation. Economists say there would be long-term benefits. Now, let's take a look at the history of the subsidy. Fuel subsidies were first introduced in the 1970s in response to the oil price shock in 1973. They became institutionalized in 1977 following the Price Control Act. The act made it illegal for some products, including petrol, to be sold above the regulated price. Such price controls, however, are only effective on an extremely short-term basis. So, it can be said that the subsidy was initially intended to be a temporary relief measure. The subsidy was partially removed in 1986. Then, in 2012, the government abruptly removed the fuel subsidy. The removal led to massive protests. Due to the pressure, the government reinstated it, and since then, the fuel subsidy payment in Nigeria has grown enormously. In 2022, fuel subsidy reached $6.088 billion, equivalent to 4 trillion naira, which was 25% of the national budget of $25.87 billion, equivalent to 17.126 trillion naira. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's total revenue in 2000 was $10.8 billion. By 2010, it had increased to $67.9 billion. However, during the last 18 years, the Nigerian government has spent more than $30 billion, which is equivalent to about 23 trillion naira on fuel subsidies. This has had a notable effect on the funds for crucial areas like infrastructure, education, healthcare, and defense. According to the Debt Management Office, the country's public debt has been on the rise because the government had to borrow 1 trillion naira in 2022 to cover fuel subsidy costs. In June 2022, the managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, reported that daily PMS consumption had increased to over 103 million litres, with at least 58 million litres being smuggled. This suggests that fuel subsidy benefits smugglers and neighboring West African countries more than it does Nigerians. As a result of these factors, the Nigerian government claimed it could no longer sustain the fuel subsidy in 2023, thereby announcing its complete removal. Most key stakeholders and economists have agreed that the subsidy regime needs to go, as it is dangerously unsustainable. The removal of the fuel subsidy has sparked significant debate and has had a tangible impact on the lives of Nigerians. Understanding the basics of this policy is crucial for grasping its implications and potential benefits for the nation. In the next episodes of the HumAngle Index, we will delve deeper into the consequences of this policy and the accountability system for the allocated funds.